all I know is I was sick, and I had to get out of this place. The picture thing was a secondary thought. You know, it wasn't. It was kind of a survival thing. Like in the moment, it gave me a chance to kind of get my mind off of what was so traumatic, which was the killing of my dog and my health, and it gave me a chance to focus on something else for a moment. And it felt comfortable. It felt familiar. So it wasn't because, you know, I'm going to be this great photographer. It was just there. It was just in front of me, you know, and that's why I did it, you know. I am by no means, you know, a hero in this. People say, oh, well, you were so courageous. You were so brave to do this. I was defending my dog and myself. And then I fell apart because of this sickness. Now, people have told me during all these other years of investigating this stuff and telling my story around the world that other people have gone through the same kind of trauma, that the sickness was probably induced by this big black obelisk thing that was probably a toolbox or a caretaker to this little guy who was out there doing some kind of geology or something. We don't know. We have no idea. Okay? But the fact remains, there are a lot of other people besides myself who have experienced the same kind of physical trauma. Well, that's what's important here, is if you start getting other people around the world at different times, not all in the same time of life, different ages, different countries, different languages, but they're all having similar trauma, bodily health issues in a situation like this, then you start to recognize that this is a pattern. It's more than that. And that's what we do. We look at patterns in life, how things happen. We compile information. We share ideas. We share these stories about these different kinds of contact. That's what I've been doing over these years. I've been trying to find some closure for myself, some understanding of what all happened, and at the same time, helping other people do that too. Other people who can't find closure. Because once this happens to you, unless you talk to somebody else that understands, you feel alone. You feel totally isolated, like you've been just sucked right out of your own world. And what happened after this day totally ripped my life apart. Because once I, went back to what I considered to be my normal life, nothing was normal. In fact, everything was taken away from me, even more so.
And can you speak on the support from others who have had encounters? Just briefly go over the people who have contacted you over the last 13 years saying, look, Dr. Reed, we support you. I know of a case close to yours, similar to yours, etc. Through emails or... Sure.
The support that I've had personally has been phenomenal. I mean, people have contacted me in every way you can think of. Mail, packages, email, video messaging, telephone calls of support. I've kept talking about my story, probably mostly because of a cathartic reason, to find a way to understand this within myself. And people all of a sudden started reaching back to me saying, you've given us some closure. You've made us understand that we're not alone. Please keep talking. Please keep bringing forward your information. So more and more, I've had more support of other people who knew how to spread this information. Along came the internet. Along came YouTube, videos, DVDs, audio books, MP3s, where the internet has literally gathered all of the information that I've brought forward, and where anybody can go and witness for themselves for absolutely for free. Some people have said, oh no, this is all about money. You've set out to make a fortune because of this. If this really happened, why aren't you just giving away your story? Well, if you know the story, if you take time enough to really understand what happened in chronological order, I did give it away. I went on the radio. I talked for 3 to 4 hours at a time on the Art Bell Coast to Coast radio program. I gave it away to the media to play, to show the photographs, the negatives, the real tape. I asked for help from people who knew about this subject. I knew nothing of this. I was never interested in it. I was not a fan of science fiction, nor did it enter my paradigm, my life. I was a psychologist for kids. I worked with kids. I had done it for 20 years. I had degrees in it. And within 9 days of all this happening, my life was torn apart. My job was over. My profession I no longer could practice. I was literally erased. A lot of people have said that it's just about money or creating a fortune from this situation. And let me tell you, it costs a lot of money to travel, to go to people's locations all over the world, and to give away thousands of books and DVDs. To manufacture them cost a lot of money. So the ones that we sell barely breaks even. So there's not been a fortune, contrived over this. In dealing with this situation, I've had the help from people like Art Bell, Coast to Coast Radio, Jaime Maussan, Don Ware, Wendell Stevens, some of the greatest minds in research that I feel are true researchers, who have helped me to understand this, who have helped to continue this truth, that not only is my case real, but there are hundreds of other ones that are real too. And the fact that some people say, Jonathan is off hiding, he won't talk to anybody. Well, I'm doing this right now to prove to everybody I'm just another man, I'm just another guy who had an incredible experience, who went through a very difficult time. The last 10 years have been extremely difficult. But I am now aware that we are not alone. And I am part of a community of people who know this is true. And that community is not made up of just people who believe or not believe because they read a book or watched a DVD. It's because those people have had the real contact, like I did. So when I say, this is not just about me, I mean there are thousands of other people out there who have had physical direct contact that still continue to this day. Even myself, and many people don't know this because they haven't heard me speak for quite a long time publicly, but these contacts for myself continue to this very day. I've had maybe over 100 more of them over the last 10 or 12 years, with other people witnessing them as well, in open forums, where there's been maybe 20 or 25 people gathered together where they've seen something. Where I was in a conference once with maybe up to 500 people, where 2 of them appeared at the corner of the stage and ran across the front of the stage. Now those things were photographed. Those things were videotaped. Did they appear on that videotape? They appeared as a blur on that videotape. Why? Well, we've learned a lot. I've learned a lot in the last 12 years. I've learned that they, for some reason, don't want to be photographed, and maybe their technology has created something that prevents them from showing up on digital film when they're either unconscious or dead, that they could be photographed that way. The rest of the time, it seems like we're not supposed to see them. Why is that? I don't know. How is that technology possible? I personally don't know. But I know in the last 5 to 10 years, even human technology has advanced so much where we can create camouflage, electronic camouflage, to disguise people and objects, like military objects, that are the size of tanks and or planes, that literally they can become invisible both to radar and normal visual means. Well, if humans can think this up, I know these little guys are so far advanced compared to